just because you have a breakthrough doesn't really mean anything. And that's unfortunate and it's hurtful to hear because, you uncover something huge about your life. You have this ginormous revelation. You have this life-altering realization. You have this breakthrough. But it doesn't mean anything because all it is just, exposure to the truth. And I see people in the comments, I see people in real life, and they say, oh, I had a breakthrough. Okay, well, what did you do with it? Oh, no, what do you mean? I had a breakthrough. Like, I understand this about myself. But did you do anything about it? What did you mean? Well, did you dive into that breakthrough? Did you figure out how it's impacting your life? And did you put the necessary habits in place in your life with a commitment to do them daily that it changed your life away from the thing that this realization has caused you to be? Oh, no, but I didn't need to do that because now I know the truth. Knowing the truth is like, it's like, I like this joke because it's like, okay, you know the truth. All right, you know how to build a rocket. Go build a rocket. It's like, well, it's different. Yeah, it's fucking different. It is different. Okay, you know that you were sexually abused as a child, you were a severe alcoholic in your teenage years, and you tried to kill yourself when you were 20. You know that. Yeah, I know it. Okay, well, fix it. Well, but that's different. It's different. Yeah, it is different. Because, yes, the breakthroughs are necessary in the sense that, if you never know, you'll never learn to fight or you never try to fight. But, a breakthrough by itself is like nothing. And that is it's the hardest thing for me to watch as somebody who's been through this, is to watch people go through these institutions, go through these retreats, go through these inpatient centers, these rehabs, these therapies. They go through them. And they like get to a point and they're like, yeah, like, you know what? I've been in therapy for, a couple years and I'm really starting to understand my past. Okay, but how has your life today changed? Do you still get triggered? Do you still think about your past all the time? Do you still have ugly thoughts, ugly feelings? Are you still afraid of things? Are you still afraid of yourself? Probably. In fact, most definitely. Because if you have a breakthrough, the fact that you had a breakthrough meant that there was something that would constitute big enough to be a breakthrough, which means that something was big enough that it also impacts your life in most likely, in fact, positively, a negative way. And if you just know that that's true, you haven't fixed the results of the thing that you broke through to understand. You haven't fixed that. And you might say, well, I don't need fixing. I don't need saving. I'm fine just as I am. Okay, be as you are. I don't want to be as you are because I know how you feel, because I've been that person. I've been that person who just feels like they can handle it, right? Feels like their life as it is doesn't need to be improved. Feels like they're good enough at lying to themselves and lying to other people that they can always skirt around the issue. They can become somebody who achieves so much, is so disciplined, is so perfect on paper that they get all these things that they think will substitute for this feeling that they hate inside, but it doesn't. And that is why you see these people and they're like, I got rich, but I felt so empty inside. It's like, yeah, no shit, you felt empty inside. Because this is not a question of how can you escape this internal pain. This is a question of how can you consume, digest, and excrete, this pain. You know what I mean? It's like you can't work your way around it. And so if you just have your breakthroughs, like, yes, that's awesome. Because breakthroughs feel like they're transformational. But a breakthrough by itself does nothing. It does nothing. It is up to you and your actions. Your actions determine whether that breakthrough actually meant anything to you at all or not. Because if it really means something to you, it forces you to take a look at your life as it is and notice what could be different. And people don't like that. They like being how they are. They don't like the idea that they could be better. They don't like it, and so they ignore it. They deny it. They don't like the idea that who you are now could be better. Because when we think that we could be better, it means that if that's true, then we're worse right now. It's the fucking disease of the human mind that takes things and draws these terrible conclusions where we go, you look at your life, I could be better. Well, if I could be better, that means I'm worse right now. That means I'm not any good right now. That means I'm not good. Don't do that. Don't do that. That is like the plague of the human mind, is to fall into a conclusion like that. Don't do that, right? Accept that you could be better. It is not a calling out. It is a calling up. That is what that is. I could be better. Drawing you up. I'm not putting you on a spotlight and saying, look, this person sucks. Ha, they're not as good as they can be. They're ignoring. No, it's a calling up. Rise to the occasion. That's where the phrase comes to. That's why the word rise is in that phrase, because it's a calling up to your purpose, to your potential, right? To who you could be, to your dreams. You get called up. So the dreams are in space, right? We don't think about dreams being like in the earth. They're up in space because we are trying to rise to meet them, right? And that is why you really got to look at yourself and say, what do I know about myself? What breakthroughs have I had? What revelations do I have? What does that mean about who I am right now? Pull yourself out of the self-critical little spotlight. Could I be better? And if I could, what would that look like and what would it take? And that's where everything starts. That's the thing, is like the breakthrough is not the end. The breakthrough is not even the beginning. The breakthrough is like, putting the DVD in the DVD player. And then you realize there's work to do, and then you play the movie. You know what I mean? It is so far from the end. And I think everybody just takes it for granted that, they can just understand things and their understanding alone will change their life. But it doesn't. It never will.